Hi, I'm Dave Baring, Technical Director here at TriStar, and welcome to another Tech Talk. Today I'm out in the shop and we're going to do something a little different. We're going to show you how to bond Rulon 142, or any of the Rulons for that matter. Rulon 142 is a product that TriStar sells all over the world. It's a material that was developed specifically for machine tool guideways. And so today I thought I'd do a quick demonstration of the processes that we go through to be sure that we get a proper bond and that the material is working the most efficiently. So the first thing we want to do is be sure that you're safe. Put on some rubber gloves, something protect your fingers, your hands. The adhesives can be a little corrosive to your skin, so be sure that you go safety first. The material, as long as you're mixing it in a well-ventilated room, you don't have to worry too much about breathing apparatus or anything like that. Not even a mask is required. But if you're sensitive to the fumes, wouldn't hurt to have a little paper mask on just in case. First thing we need to do is prep the steel. Now, most machine tool rebuilders are going to have this all figured out, the rebuilders as well. There are some very specific recommendations that we make in terms of the surface finish of the metal. We recommend that you usually have a minimum of a 125 RMS finish, which is a pretty rough finish, lots of peaks and valleys, but we need that for purposes of the adhesive grabbing onto and holding onto that metal surface. So what we suggest you do is just prep that using a grinder. You can shot blast it, sand blast it. You can use a very coarse sandpaper, but just be sure that your bonding surface is well prepared and that it's got lots of little nooks and crannies for the adhesive to grab onto. The next thing you want to do is take isopropyl alcohol or acetone. Those are the two preferred cleaners because they both evaporate fairly quickly and don't leave behind a residue. So use those to clean your bonding surface. And be sure you get all the little oil and hand and fingerprints. Be sure that all that is well taken care of. And we suggest you do not use a petroleum-based cleaner simply because the petroleum leaves behind a film, and that film will not bond well to the adhesive. After you clean the metal, you also want to clean the Rulon. And you'll notice with Rulon or any filled PTFE, you're going to have a dark brown or black side. That is the side that has been treated or etched for bonding. Do not bond to the color side because that will not stick. Be sure to bond to the dark brown or the black side. Just like with the metal, you want to be sure this is nice and clean. Again, use your isopropyl, clean it off real well, and set that aside until you're ready to actually lay it down. Now, the next thing we want to do is mix up the adhesive. RCE211 adhesive is made specifically for bonding Rulon and similar materials. For machine tool applications, we've actually added a glass bead, and that glass bead is 3/1000ths diameter. It's throughout the adhesive, and when you lay that down, you get a nice uniform 3/1000ths thick bond line. And that just prevents the adhesive from hydraulicking out and possibly leaving behind some voids, air pockets, things like that. So take your two components, part A and part B, and with this particular adhesive, it's a 1-to-1 mix. So it's very easy to use, and that's 1-to-1 by weight or volume, so you don't have to be concerned about real fastidious measurements. Take a mixing stick, or in some cases you can even use a hand drill with a little bent wire. That's also good. But be sure that you mix the material well. In fact, we recommend that you mix both the part A and the part B for at least 2 minutes, and that will be sure that you get all those glass beads to come up and properly mix with the hardener and with the adhesive. Once you've mixed both of those materials real well, then you're ready to lay those down and mix them together. Now be sure that you use a separate stir stick when you mix the two together. Otherwise you can contaminate one or the other. So just take that out and measure it out. And believe me, this is not rocket science. You can do this by eye. take your part A and your part B and just kind of eyeball equal amounts. It can get a little messy. And then take those two and mix them together. It's not unlike mixing any other adhesive. You just want to be sure you get a nice thorough mix. In the case of the CE211, you'll actually change the color. It'll become a nice little gray color. And once that's all mixed together nice and uniformly, you can then apply it to both the substrate, the metal substrate, and the Rulon material. Now, we send with the adhesive cans, we send these little serrated spatulas. These are little 16-tooth, 3/32 notches. And we find this to be the most efficient way of laying down the adhesive, being sure that you don't put too much material on, but you also get just enough. So what we suggest you do is just lay down the adhesive so that you get a good uniform amount of adhesive down on the surface. And then take the Rulon material and do it in an opposing direction. So basically what we want to do is generate kind of a crosshatch. So you'll have side-to-side direction on the adhesive on the Rulon and left-to-right direction on the steel substrate. And once you've completely covered both surfaces, then you simply take the Rulon, and we suggest that you lay it down from one end and basically just kind of lay it down, pressing out the air as you go to be sure that you get all of those little bubbles and things that can be generated out of the way. In fact, some people will even use a rolling pin or some kind of a rolling mechanism, a little piece of plastic rod, just to be sure that you get all that air squeezed out and get a good positive bond line generated. Now, you're basically done. All you need to do now is let it cure. With most epoxies, they'll run anywhere from a 5-hour cure, which is our CE211FC. It's a fast cure. We also have the standard CE211, which is a 24-hour cure. Now, our adhesives are, again, because they're made specifically for machine tool applications, are impact resistant. They can take very high compressive loads. So as a result, we're very comfortable with the fact that these things can take a lot of down forces when you're clamping and things like that. So what we would suggest you do is just simply take some C-clamps. The machine tool manufacturers have very sophisticated fixtures that they use, but you don't need to put a lot of force on here. 2 to 5 psi of load of clamping pressure is all you need. And what we suggest the last step you do is lay down some kind of a release material like wax paper, or in this case some Teflon sheet that hasn't been etched. Just lay that down on top of the Rulon piece, and then lay down another piece of metal to hold that in place. And then use your clamps, clamp the plates together, and just let it sit there for 24 hours. Once it's fully cured, you can pull everything apart, go back and clean up along the edges, be sure that you get all the residue off the edges, and your bonded piece of material is now ready to do whatever secondary you have to do, scraping, milling, machining your oil grooves. That can all be done once it's fully cured. The key thing about bonding Rulon 142 and any Rulon is preparation and cleanliness. Be sure that you clean at all phases. Be sure that you follow the instructions for the adhesive, 1-to-1 mix. That's all you need to do. And then you'll have a successful bonding process, and you'll have years and years of service of your tape bearing. Hope that's of interest to you. Hope it maybe answers some questions. It really is a fairly simple process. Just follow the instructions and you'll be fine. If you have any questions on how to bond Rulon or any plastics for that matter, or if you have any questions specifically about our adhesive agents, please contact us at the TriStar Engineering Department or visit our website at tstar.com. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again.